G'day there, and welcome to my my annual video, it seems. Jeez, it might even be biannual. Wait, does that mean twice a year or once every 2 years? I'm really not sure. But anyway, I really wanted to jump on really quick just to show you a new library that I got from Performance Samples. My good mate Jasper Blunt just released Vista 2 Lite ensemble patches. And I found them extremely inspiring and fun, and I just wanted to share them with you really quick. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but I'm not planning on making it long. I just wanted to show you them. I think they're absolutely fantastic. One of the things about an ensemble patch, lots of people kind of think they're not very useful because you have technically all of the sections in a string section playing every note. So if I play middle C, violas, violins, cellos, they're all playing it. I'm pretty sure basses aren't joining yet at that point. And so you would think that by playing a chord, it's going to be detrimental somehow, surely, right, to my composition, because I don't want every section of the string orchestra playing that triad, because that's not how it would be orchestrated in real life. Ever, right? Well, rarely anyway. But this is a perfect example, in my opinion, of how logically things don't always translate with samples in the way that you think they might. Samples kind of have a way of not stacking, not adding, not multiplying in the same way as real plays in a real room would. I mean, let's face it. If you're doing mock-ups of orchestral things, you are in the business of faking it and creating an illusion. And we need all the tools at our disposal to try and fake this. And this tool is stronger and more powerful than you think. In that playing here, let me just play you some stuff. Here we go. Okay, there's a couple things going on there. First of all, excuse my playing. This is absolute rubbish. It's hard to do mod wheel and play chords at the same time. If you've got really good eyesight, you'll see me actually trying to do the mod wheel with my little finger as I'm playing these chords. It's not ideal, but it should give you the idea. First of all, what I just played then sounded so cohesive to me. Like, this is ridiculous. Whoa. Now, I'm not exaggerating here. If I were to mock this up with individual sections with my favorite libraries, where you have individual control over violins, violas, cellos, bass, all that fancy nerdy stuff, I really honestly would struggle to get everything to sound that cohesive. In fact, I wouldn't get it to sound that cohesive. And I don't know what it is. And maybe you can, and that's great. Cool for you. I can't. That is not only instantly gratifying, it's just inspiring. Like, that's ridiculous. Oh, the way the strings released then, I've never ever been able to get a string patch to do that properly. So what JB's done here is kind of a bit of voodoo, if you ask me. He's carefully chosen a few things. Number one, the section sizes. I won't go into it because I don't remember it, but I think it's very small number of players, less than you would think. It's smaller than what it sounds. This sounds like a nicely sized section to me. But I think that's kind of a bit of a key and a secret here to why it sounds so cohesive, but not a homogeneous, gooey mess, which ensemble patches are notoriously known for. It's very hard to just pick up an ensemble patch and have it sound pleasing with definition and clarity while feeling cohesive. Usually, it's one way or another. It's too sterile and thin and weird and cold, or it's too mushy and homogeneous and noisy is probably a good way to put it too. So because we're dealing with samples, we're dealing with multiple dynamic layers at any one point on the mod wheel here. I'm hearing more than one layer at a time. It's probably pretty rare for me to hear just one layer. I'm assuming if I'm playing the very lowest and the very highest dynamic, that's one dynamic I'm hearing. But I'm hearing these layers kind of fading in and out over the top of each other, which, by the way, is the best I've ever heard it. The crossfades in this are ridiculous, and the dynamics, there's something like 12 dynamics in some of these patches. And I'm using the whisper sustains here, by the way. This isn't even the full sustains. This just happens to be my favorite patch that's most inspiring. The amount of vibrato is just perfect. There's a little hint of it, but it's not overpowering, so it doesn't sound like a weird wobbly organ when you're playing full chords. It's very, very well balanced. The attacks are just... so usable. Sorry, dodgy mod wheel. So smooth. And listen. You can hear the players lift off. It doesn't just cut off. The biggest pet peeve. And if you're a sample developer, please think about this. Please. When you lift off on a sustained string patch, you shouldn't hear an instant release. The biggest giveaway for me, fake, is when I hear strings just pull off in such a really abrupt, nasty way. So, yeah, if I... now that's better. So much control here. Anyway, let's keep going, otherwise I'm going to be here forever. But yeah, so section size is amazing. The amount of dynamics is incredible. But back to what I was talking about earlier, the really exciting thing about this for me is not only is it cohesive and kind of ready for a final mix straight away, it's quick. Like it usually takes me forever to split out all this stuff in sections. And my new way of working kind of in the last few years now has been to try and rely on a lot of ensemble patches and then use all my legatos over the top of the ensemble bass patches to weave in interest and melodies and connectivity as needed. And that's the way I've been able to get my strings to sound as cohesive as possible. For some reason, I just can't get individual sections to work. I think part of it's the recordings, part of it's just mock-ups in general. But yeah, let's go to the normal sustain. So these ones go hard. So the dynamics are nuts. But again, super smooth. So you could just stay on the very bottom, like quarter of the mod wheel here and have a really, really nice time. Sorry, my playing's rubbish. I hate doing these fiddles live, but I hope it gives you a real idea of what it sounds like. Anyway, really fun. But the one I hang out on a lot for some reason is this Whisper Sustains. That's the one that, because it's calmer too, it really doesn't fill up the audio spectrum as much, which leaves room for you to layer legatos over the top and to just milk the sound even further. Sometimes it's really tempting in these full sustain patches to ride dynamics higher than you need to because it's there, like, oh, by the way, listen to this. I'd never do a repeated note with this patch. It's not designed for that. Ignore that. That's not a fault of the library. That is what I would call user error. Anyway, just like for sketching in general, that's crazy. To have that kind of range while you're writing, next level. But the scary thing is how much of that you'll find stays in your final mock-up. And you try and replace it with all your ensemble all your individual sections, and something will be missing, I'm telling you. Then we've got marcados. I haven't really fiddled with this one much. Let me just check what's going on here. Yep. I'm not doing this justice here, but I love the attacks on this. Anyway, that's really useful. Although in saying that, the sustains have such nice attacks on them. In fact, I almost prefer it, to be honest. Like... I don't think I would end up using the marcados as much. That's just my honest take. The spiccatos, very fun. By the way, just so I'm really clear here, and sorry this video is a bit scatterbrained. I'm in the middle of a whole bunch of work at the moment, and I just wanted to take a break to give you a quick update. I am doing stuff to this library. So overall, what you are hearing is this EQ over the top of it. And all it's doing is it's taking out a little bit of like nasal qualities in the sound, which is not really a problem in the recordings. It's just a preference. You might not like what I'm doing here, but in the interest of transparency, here's what I'm doing. I'm just reducing that. Now it does weird things when you solo the frequency, but don't focus on it too much. But not a problem with the recordings, just a preference, and so actually something that I find I do a lot with strings in the box. For some reason, it's just the way it is. And there's the bass is quite controlled in these patches, so I find that I like just boosting it a bit. Also, I'm using the LX480 with medium random hall at a mix of 25%. Yeah, so let me just play it really quickly dry so you can hear exactly what's going on. EQ's off, reverb's off. Another thing to point out is usually you need a lot of reverb with samples to make it feel like it's not in your face, to make it feel... The word I like to use is diffused, right? When you can hear like precisely where the instrument is in a really narrow way and everything's narrow and poking you in the eyes, it feels really close and harsh and piercing and just not pleasant. These recordings are really nice because I would say that they're kind of dry. It's not like Performance Samples' older stuff where it's very wet and very, There's a lot of control and flexibility you have here, but the sound is diffused still, even though it's not drowning in a big tail. It still feels diffused and spread, and I don't know how to explain it. And you can muck. I'm not going to go into the mics here, but you can muck around with the mics. But I said I wouldn't go into the mics, but I will point out one thing I am doing to the mics that you may or may not like to do. The benefit of Performance Samples libraries is you can click this beautiful little cog and destroy everything to your heart's content. So what I'm doing here is I didn't like how the close mics felt like they were all panned a little bit too inwards to the center. Let me show you what I'm doing to counter that at the moment. And by the way, this is just a me thing. So I'm going to select all of the close mics by typing CL, select all, and then what I've done here is on the group effects, I've added spatial stereo modeler. And I have it at 100% spread. Let's hear it on and off. So if I solo the close mics and we turn this off, here's what the close mics sound like. Sorry if that's a bit quiet, but you if you're listening on headphones or good speakers, you should hear how that's a rather narrow, centralized image of the close mics. Which is not a flaw, it's fine. But now, if I were to bypass this, especially mid-chord, I'm also just panning it slightly to the right just to offset a bit of an imbalance there when I insert this. You do not have to do this. It's totally not necessary. In fact, you might not even want to use the close mics, so that's totally fine. But I find this helps give a bit of spread without things starting to get too congested, especially with an ensemble patch when you have, you want a bit of a spread. When it's all sort of clustered in the middle, it actually starts to sound noisier and harsher. But as soon as you start to diffuse and spread that a bit more, it's much more forgiving. Anyway, let's not go on too much about that because it's not that important. That's a little fun fact. All right. So yeah, I've already talked about how I'm processing it. I'm going to leave that processing on just because I like it. Spiccatos. For these spiccatos, for the sake of just mucking around with playing, I've turned the sample offset down to 50 so that it's somewhat playable live. I really do like the default of 100 though for playing back stuff I've recorded in. Anyway, those are really nice, especially for like us. I really love the low strings on this too. Sorry, I can't play very well, especially when it comes to short riffs and runs. It's frustrating. I'm often having to program this stuff in. But that should give you an idea of how nice like these are to work with. So many dynamics there also. Like that's just very nice. Staccatos. Usually I find staccato patches meh. Sorry, I think I've said that more than once in this video. That's kind of lame. The staccatos are actually way more useful than I thought. When I first played them, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like JB sent me the library and I just did, well, that's kind of cool. It's a bit of a longer one, Bit of a longer, slightly longer than the Spiccato, so I always love having a variation. I'm going to use that for sure, right? And then I heard JB's walkthrough after I'd played with it, and man, and if you haven't already, you really should go to the Performance Samples YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure it's up there. He does a walkthrough of this library in a way better fashion than I am. He's actually got good music in it. And this Staccato patch covers a lot of ground. You can treat it like a really fast Spiccato patch. I can't play it. It's frustrating. I hear stuff in my head. Anyway, the point is it's really connected. When you play fast stuff, the notes don't really bleed into each other in a really unpleasant way. The way that the players have performed it is very usable in a wide situation, a wide set of scenarios, which is really cool. Lastly, the pits. Usually, this is something to just breeze over really quickly. But these are beautiful, man. This is this really shows off the recordings, I think. Just very, very nice sound. These are all now in my template at the very top of the template. All of these patches, maybe except for the marcados, just because I'm not going to use them as much. They're very good though, but I just for what I do, I'm not going to use them as much. The whisper sustains being at the very, very top. I'm really excited about this library. I just wanted to give you a really quick overview of it. And shout out to JB at Performance Samples, who is doing some pretty incredible things. I'm cheering him on, and I'll be honest, his libraries make my job a lot more fun. Anyway, all the best. See you in the next one in about 18 months' time.